Welcome to Riverbend Talent on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
Another Thursday night, another Riverbend Talent on the Big Z. Brought to you by, as Lydia said, the Halpin Music Company. Also brought to you by Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance. The Sea Shanty Sing-Along already underway down at Morrison's Irish Pub. Goes until 9 o'clock. BC Homegrown playing tonight at Past Eddie's. And they'll go until 10 o'clock. We've got Breakfast in America at the Wild E Theater. That is a Super Tramp tribute, if you couldn't figure that one out. 8 o'clock tonight. D's Notes. Scott Marlin and his son. From 6 to 9 at Big Daddy's in Edwardsville. Skylark Brothers at this place, Mossy Stone Irish Pub in Edwardsville. First time I've said that on this program. Ryan Holting, 6 to 9 at the Cabin at Judy Creek and Glen Carbon. Spencer McDowell underway at the Prairie Inn in Dorsey. And joining me, the star of the show. I've made him the star, though. Pig Pen. We could have stopped at Pig.
It's not the right level.
Oh, yeah, they changed me? Oh, yeah.
Check
that's right.
that. Yeah.
They've moved everything around. We got the new board. And
Oh, yeah.
it says news, so it's like hard for me to turn you on as the news guy.
And now, the news.
If it said fake news, I'd be like, perfect, that's him.
So,
And they took your button.
as soon as I
awesome.
hit the button, I started laughing. I'm like, you probably told him to keep my buttons off.
I had nothing to do with it.
You're like, I will not let him interrupt me.
We have new guests to the show.
Yeah.
We've been saying their name for a long time, though.
I am titillated, at the least.
I love when we have new friends
Yeah.
come and join us.
And the Soulshine Groove is with us, and we have been saying that name for these many years. However, we talk about so many bands. It's hard for a guy like me to remember what happens day to day. So
It's hard for you to remember what happened 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, I forgot that I was even supposed to introduce the band. I was ready to just start talking and tell you about my day. No,
I will give you a heads up. I read their website. It says formed in 2019. Now you can introduce them.
Oh, you've already given me a big piece of
I know.
information. See, I don't know if I got anything left to ask. That was my main question.
You're going to introduce people. Remember, that's what you do.
All right. Hey.
You take over. Not enough pregame tonight? I mean,
No, I started pre-gaming hours ago.
Okay.
I'm feeling really good right now.
Okay, that's
I
it.
started pre-gaming Christmas morning and haven't stopped. I started pre-gaming in 1983.
yeah, that's much closer.
I stopped when I slept. Anyway, so the band Soulshine Groove is with us. I will introduce the members that were kind enough to show up, and I will mock him who is not. We'll get to that. Sitting right directly to my right is Mr. Dennis. He is holding down the bass guitar. You kind of lean into the old microphone, and you're a musician. You should know how to use it. But
He doesn't do.
I don't get the same.
We don't give him a
Okay, so I'm going to give you the instructions, and I'm going to do this now because I think you'll take it better, and I won't end up in HR than if I wait one more. But you want to get right up. Go ahead and grab it, grab it down by the bass. It's soft, not too hard, and get right up on it.
Right up on it. All right.
You know what?
We like to say gently but firmly.
All right.
Gently but firmly. I'm going to look at you and tell you softly. No, how you doing today, Mr.
I'm
Dennis?
doing very well, thank you, Pig Pen.
You are the bass guitar, and so many, lots of jokes about bass guitar players, that we, what the holes in their guitars are for, keep meeting, I don't know. There's so many jokes about bass guitar players.
Brian, you're the guitarist. I hear him all the time.
I'm going to tell you something. The lead singers, sure. Little eye candy there. Everyone knows the melody. Lead guitar players all flashy, thinks they're cool. But the butts are shaking to the bass guitar. We'll get to the drums too. But the rhythm section, that's what is holding down what I call the meat and potatoes of the band.
I agree.
Everybody else just bells and whistles.
That's right.
Nah.
I agree. Thank you, Pig Pen. I like you.
All right, so Dennis Krieb, right, is how you say your last name?
Yeah, I got a friend here.
Yeah, well, you're going to find out the reason I'm being real nice to you is you're the closest and the only one my arms can reach under the counter. So we'll get to that later. Again.
We asked this question to our new people that come in. Why the bass guitar and how'd you get started?
So I'm a big Beatles fan, and I love Paul McCartney.
Who
Okay.
don't?
And it just stops right there. So
When'd you
just
get your
love
first
McCartney.
bass? When'd you get your first bass?
2015, 14,
Really?
somewhere back in there.
Is it shaped like a violin? No.
I do have one of those. I own 3 Rickenbackers.
That's kind of the more of the signature McCartney guitar, but I always like, what are they, the Hofner?
The Hofner,
Yeah, the
yeah.
Hofners, man.
I've
Those
got
are,
one of those too. It's an Epiphone, but it's the same.
well,
yeah.
you know what?
I
It's
know what you mean.
Close enough.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Paul McCartney would have been
So
mine.
just out of the blue, you're like, okay, it's 2015. I feel like I want to be Paul McCartney.
I love the Beatles and just love bass lines. My ear always goes to the bass line. It always has gone to the bass.
Okay.
And McCartney is, in my opinion, the best bass player just because it's so melodic.
Have
So,
you
yeah.
played in any other bands prior
No,
to?
I played in a church for our
Okay.
church, but this was like my first real band, I guess you could say, right?
Okay.
Did you do a lot of McCartney numbers with the church?
No.
You should have. I'm going to tell you right now.
Maybe I'm Amazed. How would that go?
Yeah.
That would be a good song, I think.
One more McCartney question. Are you a lefty?
No.
Okay. He doesn't sing. He's a lefty.
I could already sense he was. I would be like a little nauseous with a southpaw this close. No.
No, I'm a righty.
Okay. So he's doing his best. I mean, what can you do?
Southpaws are just tools of the devil. No, I don't know. Evil from the soul.
Nice to meet you,
Yeah,
Dennis.
very
Krieb.
nice to meet you, Dennis.
I love your first name.
You like my first name?
Yeah.
And as you pointed out, we have musicians in here every week. I don't know that a Dennis has come
I
through.
don't think so.
Yeah. You know, nobody
It's
would
like I mentioned to you, like when you're out traveling and you stop in, the truck stop or whatever, and they got those license plates, you never see Dennis.
right?
Denise. Never Dennis. Yeah.
And there may be a reason behind that because I think the name comes from Dennison.
Oh, Dennison.
Oh, yeah.
Wax on, wax off, Dennison. I know that's not good. And fine. And look, you really want to laugh? I got some buck teeth. I'll put them. You'll hate yourself for laughing. It's really bad, but you will laugh. You'll hate yourself for it. You'll be like, oh, it's horrible, man. Anyway,
Also from Dionysus.
Dionysus.
That's yeah,
Greek god of wine, by the way.
yeah. Wine.
I prefer Ophelia. Goddess of everything. Anyway, hey, Dennis, nice to meet you. We're going to have to move on. You just sit there quietly for the rest of the
will.
show. You've done your part. You've done
I'm
well,
used to
sir.
that, actually. So, yes, thank you.
Till we get to making fun of Lyle, you just sit there. No. So, next we have Becqui. Hello, Miss Becqui.
Hello, Pigpen.
How are you?
Good. How are you today?
Doing great. You have a good Christmas?
Yeah, I think I'm still recovering today, but
It'll take till
Yeah.
next Christmas.
exactly. Yep. Yeah.
or at least till we see Santa ride the Norelco in. Do we still see that? No, I'm sorry. I'm flashing back to my childhood. So, how are you tonight? Doing good?
Yeah.
Tell me about this vocals that you are entered into. No, seriously, like singing is the easiest. Every kid sings.
Yeah, I mean,
so to
everyone
say, when
sings,
did you
so-
start singing? It's like as soon as you go la 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 da ba ba boo boo, give me some
Yeah.
boo boo boo.
I actually just grew up thinking everyone knew how to sing because I just come from a really musical family. So when I got into school and started chorus, and they were like, "Oh, you can sing," I'm like, I thought it was like talking or learning to write. It's like, oh, everyone can sing, and so I just kind of grew up with that always being a part of my life.
And that is a truism. It is just a language. I mean, all of music is just a language. So, some people speak it well and others of us stutter often. So no, you, when did you first, chorus with school? From
Yeah,
early,
well, I started
obviously early age.
Singing in church. I think I did like my first church solo, like third grade or something.
Was
and
it
I
a
was like,
McCartney
oh, I
tune?
like this.
Was it a McCartney tune?
It was not a McCartney tune.
Just checking.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was not. Yeah, and then just from there in school, like junior high. Actually, in 8th grade, my choir teacher said I was not good enough to ever be a lead singer, and so then I quit singing actually for a very long time. Was not in choir in high school at all, and then just kind of got back into it just because I really liked it, after college and stuff. So, but yeah. So
And anybody listening, she just said the most important reason to participate in this because you enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah.
As I just mentioned, it's a language. That means do you not talk to babies because they don't know how to talk? No, they got to learn how to talk. And one of the best things about music to anybody who is interested in pursuing such aspects. whether you want to put 10 minutes in or dedicate your entire life to it, you'll never master it, but you can have fun with 3 chords all your life.
Yeah.
So it's just how far you want to go with it. It's one of the only things that you could, do just a little bit and have a good time, or dedicate your life to, have a good time, but still go, I don't know everything. Frank Zappa might have known everything. Well, I don't know. So when was your first band outside of school or?
So really, I was in a couple of original bands in college that we never got out of the basement, just kind of fiddling around. Didn't
That's
really
the best
do anything. Yeah. Got married pretty young, started having kids young. Once my kids got a little bit older and, it didn't need me around all the time, really just 2018, I think, joined my first band over in St. Charles area, played with them for a little bit. Then I was in a band called The Great Escape over in Missouri for a little bit, and we did a lot of party music. And then COVID kind of killed that. But I joined Soulshine kind of during that time too, and I was in both of those bands for a while, and we're still going. So really only been in a band playing out last 6 or 7 years. So.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Becqui has an awesome last name if you're a guitar player.
Okay.
Marshall.
Yeah.
It's also Jimi Hendrix's middle name. Right.
Oh.
And you mentioned that you had a musical family. Tell us about your musical family.
Yes.
What's that mean?
Well, my mom was a classically trained vocalist at SIUE. She has 7 brothers and 1 sister. All of them are just... they're all musical. One is a choir director for high school. One has just been in theater his whole life, but they all just sing. We used to have reunions with our family when my grandparents were alive, and we would be the choir for the church on those weekends.
Nice.
So, we grew up singing. At Christmas, we do Handel's Messiah, chorus, as family. So just very
It wasn't the
musical all the
same
time.
choir teacher that told you couldn't sing, though.
No. I was not related to
Clear
that
this
one.
up.
Yeah, so just very vocal, and we just really love music. And
That got under my skin.
Yeah.
But at the same,
me too.
But at the same time, it's it can be a motivator when you hear that. It's
Yeah.
I will show you.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get you, my pretty. That's cool.
So there you
Cool
go.
story.
Hey.
So
I'm
where are
glad.
you from?
I grew up in Wood River. I'm
Okay.
in Bethalto now, but
Okay.
I've always been kind of in the Riverbend area.
So it's interesting because I'm sure one of the reasons that a lot of our people who end up in these hot seats are from they're local musicians, so they're from the local area. But you mentioned singing in a couple bands in St. Charles, St.
Right.
Louis. So it was. I was wondering at that same time. Oh, where are you from? Then are you from Missouri originally? No,
Nope.
Wood River.
Yep.
Okay, an Oiler.
Yeah.
A Shell actually. No, an Oiler.
I was an
Whatever.
Oiler.
Either way.
Converted to an eagle.
Yeah. How come all the eagles are bald around here? We need a hair club for eagles around here.
Totally bald. Yeah.
I'm glad you've come back to music. And that as for that chorus teacher, choir teacher, you know what? There's a special place in choir. Hell, no, I don't know. Don't be discouraging to people. You know. Anyway, all right. Because everybody tells me I can't play and I can't sing, and it's never stopped me.
No.
Never. It doesn't matter how many times you're like, you suck. I'm like, yeah, I know. This is the most fun I've had all day. Hearing you say that, I don't care. So, moving on down the line here, our next member, Mr. Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Doing great.
Go ahead and get on that microphone.
There we go.
Get intimate with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now you hear
we
the
go.
nice resonance of your voice.
Yes.
You are the percussionist.
Yes, I make a lot of noise.
And I'm going to say this just as I said with vocals. Again, what kid doesn't beat on pots and pans or take the empty oatmeal containers and put the lid back
Exactly.
on? I mean, I had a whole drum set out of empty coffee cans and oatmeal containers,
And it's all original and it sounds great.
And there's never been a set like it, nor does anybody
Exactly.
want one like it. So it is so easy to get it into percussion because everything is a percussive instrument. Everything in the world you can beat on except the air.
The desk.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Air drums, man, they're great.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
yeah.
don't drop your sticks. They're hard to find.
Especially since I dropped my invisible contacts. No, I don't. Anyway, so at what age I'm sure you were beating on pots and pans from early on.
Age, yeah.
When did you
And,
truly join take some
Actually,
drums?
my mom bought me my first drum set. It was $50 for a set of Slingerlands.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Blue Sparkle. Just like Ronnie Tutt. Just like his. But he had Ludwig.
I have a Blue Sparkle Ludwig kit at this moment. It's the
Nice.
little what's Chris or what the Curtis Love. I don't know what the guy's name is, but it's a little bitty. It's like the tiny little kit.
It's compact. Throw it in the back seat of the car and take off and go.
Yeah, it's got like a 13-inch kick or something
Yeah,
on it. But
yeah.
you know what? It's great, and it's Blue Sparkle Ludwig.
There you go.
You know, I feel so close to you right now. Simpatico, brother. Except I'm not a drummer. But anyway,
Teach you. You know, so,
I own drums. Anyway, so you got this Ludwig kit at what age?
13.
Nice. You know what? I'm going to say right now, props to your mom.
Yeah.
That's a good mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Dad was against it, and but anyway, all the neighbors said, "Look, you know, he's not running the streets. He's out in the garage or he's in the basement. You can hear him. You know where he's at. He's not causing trouble." And Dad says, "Okay." So anyway, when I got my first real gig playing drums, I was 15. Playing with a country rock band, and the gentleman, his name was Bob Little, and he came over and I auditioned. A buddy of mine says, "Hey," he says, Bob's wanting a new drummer," and so I went and auditioned, played 3 songs. He says, "Kid, when can you start playing?" "Well, when do you need me?" He says, "Next weekend." All right. Now, so anyway, he comes out and he meets my mom and dad, and he says, "I just want you to know that your son is a good drummer." He says, "I know he don't have a driver's license. Don't worry about it. I'll come pick him up. I'll bring him home." He said, "I'll treat him just like my own. You have nothing to worry about." Dad said, "Okay." So Dad was just kind of leery about that. So the first weekend I
bet.
played, three nights, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I come home and I had $175 cash in my pocket. He would not let me buy my own food, my sodas, or nothing. He bought everything.
Nice.
I come home and I threw that money on the table. Dad looked at me and says, "So, when are you going to play again?" I said, "Next weekend." So it was all good.
I worked all weekend after taxes didn't make that.
That was back in 1985.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. So hold on.
Yes,
hold on.
yes,
Did
yeah.
you say you're 15 in 85?
Yes.
Is that what you said? 1970?
Well, actually,
Born-
69. So I'm
69, all right.
So it's 1980 when I got my first drum set. So
Right,
it was 85.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What bands have you played in?
Well, actually, it was Bob Little in Waco. That was before the Waco, Texas.
It would have been just as cool after, dude.
Well, yeah, but it's not that crazy, And then I filled in for several bands back in the '80s. Blue Ridge Express was a very popular one around Carlinville, and then had our own little band called Neighbor's Nightmare.
Great name.
Well,
Great name.
how we got that was every time we had band practice at my house, the cops show up. I mean, the music was that good. They wanted to come over and hang out with us. Like, hey, He said, "Well, you got to turn it down just a little bit." So, okay. Then moving on, played with a few little bands here and there, and then I played with Back in the Saddle for about 8 years.
Oh, there you go.
And I fill in every once in a while whenever Lucky can't make it, and we're not playing. So, and then Brian, I kept bothering Brian. This is back at work. That hey, we need to start a band, and stuff. So anyway, one day he came to me and says, "Hey," he says, let's put this band together." So here we are. So.
Now, Mike's last name is Edwards. Are you from this area?
No, I'm from Standard City.
Okay. Where the heck's that?
Where?
That's just northeast of Carlinville, little mining town.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Now you live.
In Jerseyville.
Okay, you're getting closer.
Getting closer, yeah.
Coming down 16 a bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. That is the drummer Mike Edwards, and next to him is Brian, who he just made a reference to Brian. So Brian, you are the lead guitarist, but I'm going to start off with a simple question. Mike said, I used to call Brian and bother him. Does he still call you and bother you?
All the time.
I had a feeling.
All the time.
I just had a feeling. As soon as he
Yeah.
said it, I'm like, you used the wrong word. It's still. I call him and bother him. It's not used to. No, I'm just kidding.
He does.
We try to start band fights here. You're going to figure this out.
No, we fight all the time because we're brothers, you know, and
this
sisters.
This is going to be
And,
easy then.
Yeah,
I'll
no
give you
problem.
$1 to hit him. You throw a chair. This is going to be like Springer, man. So you have been you are the lead guitarist, and let's go way let's jump in the Wayback Machine here. Let's even go farther before this first guitar. We're going to get to that. But in all honesty, when do you really remember like your love affair with music starting?
Probably around 1970.
Okay. And how old were you at this moment? I was kind of looking for an age.
How old was I in 1970?
Yeah.
I was 10.
There you go. So
Awesome.
10 years old, and at that moment you realize, wow, the vibrations of music is where it's at. This is the healing thing for me.
Absolutely.
And how did you obviously I'm assuming at this time, if 8 tracks are still around, I had some, I had some
Yes,
8
they were.
tracks. I had 8 tracks as a kid. I actually still got a couple, but I don't have a player. But so you probably had 8 tracks, maybe some albums.
Absolutely.
And you one of those kids like I was that just you put the album on and it plays till it's and then you start it again.
And I read all the album covers, start to finish, and knew who all the producers were and who all the studio musicians were that played on different tracks. And so, yeah, I was in love, but I didn't actually pick up a guitar until I was 15
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
because I was a baseball player,
Okay.
and I was going to be a Major League Baseball player.
I like it.
Then my coach, much like Becky's person, said, "You're not good enough."
Oh, here
But
we go.
in my case, he was right. So I picked up a guitar instead because if you weren't an athlete and you wanted the girls, you had to play music.
Oh, yeah.
You're pretty smart at this age. You are already smart enough to have figured out a lot.
Smart enough.
At this
That's
age.
So
So here's wow, you kind of threw me off with the baseball because all I can think of is Doc Ellis right now. I'm gonna wipe Doc Ellis out of my head, and we're gonna move on from
never
that.
pitched on cocaine.
Well, this was LSD, but either way, it's all for a good. It's all done in the name of a good time. So first, I want to say to both your coach and your choir teacher, take a lesson from what was his name? Something Little, John Little. Who'd you play with?
Bob Little.
Bob. Take a lesson from Bob Little and be supportive of these people. A bunch of dream crushers out there.
All
Well,
right, so you got your first guitar at 15
What kind of guitar?
from Halpin Music, I'm sure.
No,
people-
it was an old Sears acoustic that actually was my sister's. She had gotten it for Christmas and played it about once and put it in the closet. And I picked it up, and the strings were about 1 inch off the fretboard, and I bled. I literally bled, just like
yeah.
guitar players do often. And the strings were cracked, so whenever I slid up a string, it would rip my fingers open. But I'd put a Band-Aid on, and I'd just keep going because I loved the music.
Yeah.
So
You gotta love those, guitars that you can slide a whole pack of cigarettes under the. What's going on here? I'm just not that strong anymore.
It makes you faster eventually.
It's
It's like wearing weights.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you can learn to play a guitar like that, and someone hands you a slick guitar, you're like, this is so easy.
That's right.
Clapton ain't that good. Look at that. Just kidding. Clapton is great.
yeah.
So when did you discover electricity?
Well,
When Muddy Waters invented it. No, I don't know.
it's kind of funny. It was kind of a pressure thing because I was down at Swing City in Collinsville.
Yeah.
I was 19 years old, and I saw an ad on the board, and the band was looking for a guitar player.
Ah.
And I thought, well, all I've got is this old Sears. I don't have an electric guitar, so I bought an electric guitar. And a week later, I was trying out with the band. And actually, the keyboard player in that band was Lyle Batson, the aforementioned keyboard
that
player that is
guy.
not here.
We are about to get to Lyle. You're going to learn more horrible things about Lyle real soon.
But anyway, I tried out for them, and I was terrible. And we played for a while, and we went in the living room, my bass player's living room, and we sat down, and they said, well, how would you like to join us? And I was flabbergasted. I was like, you got to be kidding. I sucked.
You know two out of the three chords to Louie Louie. You're doing great, man.
But we played for about a year and a half. That was Skyline was the name of the band.
Okay.
And we played a lot in the Alton area, St. Louis, Alton area. And it was a great learning experience. We started out playing at a place called Richards, which is now Third Shoot.
Okay, yeah.
The
It's known by many names.
Oh, the old Richards, man. That place was Richards.
Was it Forkyville back then still?
Yeah. Well, that area, the whole area was called Forkyville. Yeah. The uptown was Pie Town,
I like
and that
bringing
was
that up.
Forkyville.
Yeah.
But it really opened my eyes as a 19-year-old kid because
It's a rough joint.
they should have had chicken wire up in front of us.
No.
The floor, the dance floor, and the bandstand was all in one. So the only thing between you and the people was your mic stand. And of course, back in those days, everybody danced. The dance floor was full all the time. But we would have fights in there constantly, and people would roll right past you into the drum set, and bottles shattering against the wall. And you'd see people with guns in their waistbands, and just all kinds of crazy stuff. But for a 19-year-old kid, it was like, wow, this is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
If anyone ever saw one of the fights in the parking lots at Richards, those would they all started inside.
Yeah.
And when they got to a certain point, Tight, I think that's the guy's name who owned it, at least in the 80s.
This was.
Rich. But anyway,
Richard.
He take that out to the parking lot, and then it'd really get ugly. But guns, knives,
Yeah, he was a tough dude.
That was
him and his brother. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
they
it was
were
a
tough
rough
dudes.
joint, man. But a good place to play.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
So,
you boys drink a lot of beer.
but anyway, we played for about a year and a half, and we were playing constantly. We were playing like 5 nights a week.
Nice.
I was in college at the time, and so I was going to school at 8 o'clock in the morning, bleary-eyed and probably drunk most of the time.
Right. Best way to go.
So my career at college was not the best, but I did get through. I did get a degree.
Nice.
So I got a job out of that. Anyway, after that, I went on hiatus for 38 years.
Wow.
And did not play again until I had written a song, and I wanted to record it. I bought a little Zoom multi-track recorder, and we had so much talent at the college at the time, Lewis and Clark Community College, that I thought I'll just pull people in and do this multi-track recording. I can walk around to each place and have them do their bit, go on someplace else and do that. And so we did that. I picked Mike Edwards to play the drums on that particular track. And then a couple other guys that worked there were in the Warehouse Project,
Oh,
Okay.
which is
nice.
Brian McKinney and Jay Hollinger. You probably know.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
And so Jay added a lead guitar bit, and Brian played the bass and helped engineer it. And so that was fun, but it kind of sparked my creative juices, and it's like, I'd really like to play again.
Yeah.
And so I knew Mike had just gotten out of his band, and we always hung out together.
And Dennis just got out of prison. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
His mom got out there.
That was me.
I knew someone did.
so I asked him if he'd be interested, and he jumped at the chance. He was really wanting to do that. Talked to Dennis, and he was a little leery because he had only played bass in the church band. And so he was a little leery about playing in front of people with a rock band. But he finally said, yep, I'm going to go for it. So he did that. A student worker of mine found out that we were starting a band, and she said, do you need a singer? And I said, yes, we do.
And she and Dennis said, make sure it's a pretty one. And you said she is.
Yeah,
It's fine. We got it. It's all under control. I don't
So
know,
then I
Dennis.
had-
I'm giving you help. I'm sorry.
I had another buddy who played keyboards, and we actually got a job right out of the gate playing for the chili cook-off at the Alton Bell Casino.
Okay.
Wow.
So we thought we were big time at that time.
For sure.
We played one gig, and our singer quit to go off to college.
Different singer. See, I thought I had this. I thought I was on to it.
No. Lots of twists and turns.
It is.
The pretty
So-
singer's yet to come. That first singer was ugly, man. Let's just say it. Oh,
And the keyboard player that we had, he was just going to be filling in for a day because he had a lot of other bands he was playing in and whatnot. So that was Randy Belling. You might have heard of him before.
He's in.
So those two were gone right off the bat. So we had to find some other players. Had an old friend, Rick Coy, who played keyboards. And so I asked him. He had gotten out of a band about 6 months earlier. And he said yes. So then we needed a singer. So I actually put an ad on Craigslist and had quite a few responses. And but Miss Becqui here came over, and she, even though she was younger, she really loved the kinds of music that we were playing. A lot of 70s stuff. And so she came over and tried out, and we were all like, wow, she's got it. We found out she was playing in another band, so we had to do a little bit of scheduling, but
a little cavorting on how to get rid of the other band.
Yeah.
They all died of mysterious circumstances.
That's right. They all fell out of high windows. But so it's been us ever since. Rick did leave. We've had 6 keyboard players. So it's kind of, I always say,
that's
it's kind of like
the Grateful Dead, man. That's hard to do.
It's kind of like the drummers with Spinal Tap, you know. They
just a globula left on the seat. Just
But no, Lyle Batson is with us now, and we're all real happy. And
well, he's sort of with us.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not here.
So
we got to bring that up, don't we?
We're going to get down
What's up,
to
Lyle? Where you at?
We're going to get down to what style of music Soulshine Groove plays and get to know the members better. But you know, Lyle, let's just say it.
Yeah.
Let's just get it out there, Lyle. You know,
Be careful though, because 6
Unreliable.
keyboard players, they might have to look for a 7th. Calm down.
You know what, Lyle? You're doing great, buddy.
You're doing a good job.
You know what?
We love you, Lyle.
Oh, so there you go, man. I was about to really let Lyle
I know.
have it.
I tried to calm you down.
Yeah.
So
you
now
did
the
just
big
in time.
question: where did the name Soulshine Groove come from?
that was actually our first singer. That was her one contribution to the band. She
Okay.
actually named the band.
It's a good name.
It's a good name, but yeah, she named it and then left. So
She had a purpose.
I guess.
She had a purpose, you know, and you know, I'm glad she contributed something because I'm telling you what, you guys were no good then. No, I'm just kidding. You know, it's like the Phil Collins years of Genesis. Just give me Peter Gabriel. No, I don't. I'm sorry.
So, what do we learn from this, kids? Go to college, and you'll meet other people who play music, and you can start a band. You ever do that, Pigpen?
I'm contemplating signing up for next semester because I think the bands I'm in are really getting sick of me.
Yeah. And then my band was formed out of Lewis and Clark Community College.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So you guys
absolutely.
were all, like, you guys all work there, right? Not Becqui, but
So
Becky, yes.
I actually,
You'd work
when
there, too?
When I met them, they're like, "Oh, we all work at Lewis and Clark." I'm like, "Hey, I used to work there too." So I knew a bunch of people that they knew too, but we didn't know each other while we worked there. But yeah, we all have connections to
isn't that cool?
Lewis and Clark. It's pretty weird. So
So did you guys show up at work and go, hey, let's sneak down here and get a couple songs in during our break?
Maybe.
Oh, hold on. Did
some
you?
of them still work there. but it's good.
Well, then I was getting
Well, if
ready
you know
to.
the security, I mean, you know.
There was 2 questions I was getting ready to ask. One of them I might forego because they might be security. None of you work security, right? Okay, because I got a lot of smack to talk on the security now. Now, one thing that I did when I went to school there is the back then for production, you had to do reel-to-reel and razor blade. You know, you cut and tape it, and it wasn't very quick like it is now with ones and zeros. And we would lock ourselves in the studio overnight without really permission, and the security would come down, you know, once every hour or so. They'd just walk the halls, barely looking. So we would kind of, me and this other guy, we'd keep watch out a little bit, you know, and if we see them, we would just shut the light out and just wait till they pass. Give it about 5 minutes, and we would produce all night because you could get so much done in like a 6 or 7 hour period, you know, where normally you'd have to check it out for an hour, you know, each studio assigned. You couldn't get nothing done in an hour in those days, you know. I mean, it takes me an hour to load at the reel-to-reel machine. I don't know what I'm doing. So that was a question. Did you ever sneak into, lock yourself into the recording studios and go, you know what, we're going to make an album for free tonight. Just somebody keep an eye for security.
We didn't do that, but we did rehearse there for a long time.
Right.
Man, there's a good reason to get a job there.
See, I know a security guard that works out at Lewis and Clark College who told me these guys all worked out there. So obviously security knew them. So, I mean, sometimes that's a way to do it.
Yeah.
You just, butter them up a little and they'll turn their head.
They were very aware of me too, but I never buttered them up. That was my problem. I was always just squirting olive oil on them. I thought it was healthier. I didn't know.
These guys probably played the music that she liked. So, yeah, that's part of it.
That
probably.
and here and they probably did it well.
Yeah.
So even if I picked the right songs, it wouldn't have helped.
There's a very long list of folks that we have talked to over 10 years now that come right out of Lewis and Clark Community College. John Mondon's one of those that comes to mind quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a whole list of them. And what a great music program out there. Harlan Hawk is who I had when I was out there, and many, many people learned from him.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it because he, like, right off the bat goes, I don't understand all these kids singing the blues and they're not even out of their diapers yet.
Listen, if they're singing the blues about some diaper rash, I get it. Baby's got problems too. That Chi-Chi gonna dry. Oh, that Chi-Chi gonna dry.
So we're here to talk about your New Year's Eve gig.
Tim Jordan's who we're here
That's
to talk
right.
about.
Tim
I mean,
Jordan.
if we mention LCC, we got to mention Tim Jordan.
Going to plug the band.
Both Jordans. Anyway, go ahead.
And their show.
Yeah, we can do
New
that
Year's
too.
Eve. Edwardsville Moose. Open to the public. Right?
Nice.
Sometimes mooses, they get secretive.
This is, the secret handshake.
All open.
Right.
All open.
Yep, we'll be there 8:30 to 12:30.
Okay.
And they've got dinner prior to that. What is it? I forgot what's on the menu, but
Steaks,
prime rib, turkey,
Salmon.
salmon, all kinds of desserts.
A chef on duty right there, so he can.
Yep. So it's going to be a good time. I think we played there last year, and I think there was about 300 people.
I'd say
Showed
probably
up?
about 4, I think.
Oh.
Because there's quite
A
a
lot.
few people.
It was
a lot.
full.
It was full. It was full. And this year's theme is the 70s. Like the shirt. It's groovy, and that's all that matters. So,
Oh, yeah.
Come on out and get your groove on.
Soulshine Groove on. Get your
you go.
Soulshine Groove on.
And you guys have played the Moose before, and looking
yes.
at your schedule, you guys play there often, right?
Yes.
Right? So, as a matter of fact, if you miss New Year's Eve, you can come back on the 17th of January, right?
Exactly.
Right, so don't miss it, though.
Get a second helping.
There you go. And then it looks like you're going to take a little break until March. Is that the plan, or is
Well, maybe.
maybe still hunting?
We really don't hunt a whole lot anymore.
Right? People call you.
Going on a moose hunt.
So, yeah. Now we're actually booked at the Wood River Moose as well. So
Right. That'd be
couple of
March
mooses.
7th for the Wood River Moose, and then back to the Edwardsville Moose on March 21st. And then Grafton Winery. I see you guys play up there quite a bit too, right?
This will actually be our first
Oh, okay.
time at the
Yes.
winery.
Yeah.
Seems like everybody plays there at some point. That's the 22nd of March, and then Big Daddy's on the 29th of March in Edwardsville. Right around the corner from the Wiley, sort of. Down the sidewalk, actually.
Yep.
Past the parking lot where the back bar's in the back, or the backstage bar now. And then right next to the Foundry, which is another place that we mention quite a bit in Edwardsville. I bet you're playing 6 to 9, unless it's a Sunday, then it's 4 to 7.
Correct.
Right.
6 to 9. Yeah.
Okay.
They get us out of there so the kids can come in afterwards.
And then moving into April, looks like Bakers and Hale.
Nice.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Pointed towards Dennis.
Yeah. Sounds right. Yes.
Lean on
It
in
sounds
there.
right. Yes, it does.
Okay. I thought maybe you're the connect there.
No, but they're really fun to work for. I mean, they're good. They're good to us, and it's a fun place to play. And so that sounds right. Yeah, April.
And
Cool.
apparently they're expanding.
They're expanding.
Nice.
So the music will get even bigger there.
Yes.
Hey, kudos to Bakers and Hale. We mention their name almost every single week. They do it 2 or 3 times a weekend, and we love it. And then bike night in the summer, so they do Wednesdays as well.
Close enough for me to stagger home if I need to. So.
There you go.
And you said they're expanding it. Now here's the thing: what you're playing there in April. By around that time, they're going to be outdoors with the music. Because they move it in for the winter, but in the nicer months, it's outdoor, and that The place is huge already. You know, so what do you know the plans for expand? Like, are they expanding the ceiling over the outdoor area to cover more?
Apparently, that back wall by the bar, they're going to expand that by 30 feet or so.
Oh,
So,
wow.
you know, there's really no dance floor at this point
Right.
when you play inside, but now there will be a large dance floor,
Wow.
more seating, and maybe a stage. I don't even know.
So
what
so they're expanding the actual indoors, not just the indoor area.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Look,
I
look,
don't want to spend somebody else's money.
I love to spend other people's money. It's so much more fun than spending my own. And as for that allegedly stuff, I don't know what I'm saying right now. You don't have. We don't have to play those games. You know, we don't need to argue semantics here. Let's just say what we want. We'll manifest it.
You can also check Soulshine Groove out in May 24th at Locke's Brick House, the 25th back at Grafton Winery, and this one here caught my eye, May 31st. And we know that's a big weekend at a campground
Oh yeah.
in Carlinville.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
A buddy of mine from years ago, he says, I've been wanting to get your band up here. And he says, is there any way that we can get you up here, you know? I said, well, give me some dates first, and I'll tell you what's available. And he says, well, okay. So he kept pushing for the 31st. I said, okay. So I said, we can do it. He says, great. He says, he said, that's a big weekend up here. He said, place is crowded. He said, we're going to have a good time. I said, that's all that matters. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Exactly. Get right to the point. Let's have a blast in a campground. Pass out somewhere.
It sounds like a party. Where are we going? Let's start now. Why are we waiting, man?
It looks like in June, then on the 8th, you're playing for the golf carts, is what we are told about the Prairie Inn in Dorsey. People show up in their golf carts.
Special parking for them.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's a fun place
It is a fun
because
place, yeah.
a lot of small towns in that area, and they all swarm in on the Prairie Inn.
Just lean on
So
into the
it's
microphone. Lean on in there.
Always a packed house, and always a fun time.
Nice.
And good food
Yeah,
too.
that's really good.
Then you return to Baker's on the 20th of June, back to Locke's Brick House on the 19th of July, and back to Big Daddy's on the 26th of July, and then Grafton Winery again in August. Well, if you guys blow it the first time at Grafton Winery, you're going to lose a few good gigs here. I don't want to put no pressure on you, but I did.
But let's go ahead and blame Lyle for that. I mean, let's just admit he screwed that first gig at the pub.
But the thing of it is, the phone starts ringing right after the first of the year.
Yeah.
You know, because people book a year in advance.
Right.
So, you know, you got the loading dock going to be calling. I mean, there's a lot of people. And so anyway, that they'll start calling us like, oh, okay, they'll start giving us some dates. And we say yay or nay, you know, if we're already booked or not. So, but it's crazy. But once the phone rings, it just keeps ringing all the time. So.
And that,
And
that happens after the first of the year. The first of the year's still a few days away. You better, I'd take your phone off the
Gotta
hook,
get ready.
bro. Just enjoy the New Year's, man. Make them wait till the 2nd. Yeah.
One of the first things I said to you guys when you came in is that I'm highly impressed that you guys keep your schedule up to date. It's way out in advance, so it's easy to, you know, kind of set aside a day to go see these guys, and they keep it updated. And all of that is very important. If you're not doing that with your band, you probably should be doing that with your band. And so who takes care of all that?
Mostly Dennis and his wife Rachel, who I call our manager. She is awesome. She keeps us on our toes. So yeah, she helps.
My wife does a lot for the band. She's like our roadie. She feeds us whenever we have our band practice, weekly band practice. She cooks for us, and she's Mike's right-hand person because he has a very particular way to put his drums up, and she knows his
Drummers.
System.
Wow.
I know.
system.
Yeah.
I hope my wife's listening.
That is
right now.
that is
I've got a great
She's
wife.
listening.
She's the band wife.
Yeah.
I know you. I know if you are listening, honey. You're like, well, I cook for the band. No. She sets up the drums. She sets up other people's gear. Carry my amp. Carry my amp.
Hey, you remember when we went to Lewis and Clark College and there was that little room next door to the main studio where they did video like once a month? Maybe you'd see somebody in there.
Right.
Brian.
That was me.
That was him.
Wait a minute.
And man, his
You
video,
owe me $20 now.
man, his video grown since then though.
Yeah.
What back
Now-
in those
now-
days, I think it was mainly like like they do commercials or something like that.
Yeah, we did. We basically were self-funded. We didn't get a budget. In fact, for the first 3 years I worked there, I got no budget, so I was basically stealing everything I could to try and get things done. And we were doing basketball,
Right.
Clark basketball at the time. So we did. Mike Lemon sent his class out, his sales class, to try to sell commercial time for the basketball games, which worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I asked the administration, I said, can I keep the money I make from the outside world? And they said, well, give us 8% for bookkeeping and you can keep the rest, but never ask for another budget.
Okay.
And I said, sounds like a deal. And that worked quite well for 19 years. So
Oh wow.
So the Lemons years, right? As we're talking, 'cause I was actually
Well, he-
picturing like the Dreeth years.
He
and
remembers Kent Shuffle,
And
not
yeah,
as
yeah,
well
yeah,
as you
yeah.
do.
Kent and Mike were actually my first bosses.
and Mike Dreeth and Kent Shuffle, but then in the Lemons years, so that the video room on the second floor of Baldwin Hall or whatever it is, I guarantee.
That's right. You had to go for like 10 years, didn't you?
I was going to say I was there. I was there through all these years. I got a degree, a 2-year degree, but I went to college the same amount of years as my wife, who's a lawyer. I don't. Either way, we both went to college 10 years, so she can just shut up. Anyway,
He had this-
same education.
He had this buddy who had already graduated from the program, but decided to go out on Dead Tour with him. And I kept encouraging. This guy kept encouraging him to at least go back and do your internship, because that way you can, work at a radio station for a while and you'll enjoy that. And he's like, yeah, if I do that, I'm just going to go to Casey. And I'm like, well, not everybody
Yeah.
gets in there. And he's like, I'm going to. And he did.
Easy enough. So this is what I was thinking though. As you brought up the Lemons years, I if you were in charge of the video, me and you have met. I went and asked you for a favor. I was really just trying to get through college. Jerry Garcia was dead. I didn't know what to do. I don't know. I'm trying, but I'm not trying hard. Let's just put it that way. But they wanted us to do this sales presentation. And I'm busy. It's a fake sales presentation. I know it's for a grade, but come on, it's not real. Why are you making such a big deal? And Lemons was or whoever it was very specific. You must cover all these points. And I'm like, I can't remember that without a paper in front of me. Like 3 things. I don't know. Anyway, so I made a video for my sales presentation, and I went and borrowed some equipment from the video place, and I literally wheeled a video in and played a video for my final, and it covered all the things that were mentioned on that list somehow magically. It's almost like I was looking at it when I made the video.
Whatever works.
Yeah, but that was probably you if you were in charge of it there in the late
Probably
90s,
so.
yeah, right at the end of the 90s there. So yeah, thank you.
You're, no problem. Glad to help.
If you type in Soulshine Groove Band on YouTube, you will find videos that they have done.
Yeah,
And,
if you type in a Soulshine Groove XXX, you're going to want to scrub your browser afterwards. But hot. No, I'm just kidding.
Kind of cool idea. They do a kind of a montage and use them for demos, which I always thought was a really smart thing to do. If you're a cover band, you can just take little parts, the best parts, of course,
Medley.
your song.
A little medley, we'll call
Right.
it.
And edit those all together, especially if you got a guy that knows how to edit.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Mike, what do you do out at Lewis and Clark?
I'm a locksmith.
Okay.
I'm everybody's bestest friend.
See, that's how they got in those places.
Yeah. So you lose your keys, you come see me.
Yeah,
Your swipe card quits working, you come see me. You make me mad, your card quits working, your key quits working, you come see me.
How about hypothetically bank vaults? What are we talking here?
Well, there's no money out there, so
It's all ones and zeros now.
Yes,
You are
yes,
correct.
exactly.
You are correct.
Yeah.
And Becqui, when you're not being a rock star, what is your other job?
I work at Worldwide Technology. I am in tech recruiting.
Okay, that's the racetrack, right? No, they sponsor
own a racetrack. Yeah.
Isn't that the big building on 255 out
So
there?
we have some warehouses on 255, but our corporate is in Maryland Heights.
Okay.
Oh, fancy.
So yep, so our corporate.
Just like Coca-Cola. No, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, so we have lots of locations, but yeah, the warehouses out on 255 are our integration centers.
Yeah.
We like to dive into the other side of being a rock musician or a musician in this area that, you probably could make a living. It's not going to be easy, and you're not going to make a lot of money.
Not going to play
in our area.
Not going to play your own songs.
Right, in our area. So if people don't realize it, most of the musicians you watch have other jobs and use that as a way to support them to buy bass strings.
Which
Dennis?
Which brings us to Dennis. So, Dennis, we know you make adult films. It's just for you not. I'm sorry. Poor Dennis.
Well, the secret's out now, I guess.
Dennis is like, why'd I choose this chair?
That's all right. I'm used to it, Big Pen.
So how about you? What do you do to make the greenbacks?
So I'm the library director at Lewis and Clark. I've been director for too many years. I mean, we're going way back.
He's smart.
I did teach. I haven't done this in a while, but I do at times teach at Maryville. They have a doctoral program, and I'm a doctoral dissertation chair. I do that on the side too, but I haven't done that in a few semesters. But
I spent a lot of time in that library.
Yeah.
So here's
It's an
Dennis
awesome
is
library.
actually a doctor, He's Dr. D.
See, I told you he's smart.
Hunter Thompson was a doctor too. So I mean, hey, you're in good company.
I'm in good company.
So I have to ask everybody I meet who's a librarian at this point. You ever been punched in your shusher? I got
No way. Let me think about that. No, I have not. I've had my car egged before, but I have not been punched.
I work with a guy who is a librarian. Or not work with. He's in he's in a band. He's doing two of my bands. Plays guitar in one and keyboards in the other. And he had a high-powered job and charge of a lot of people. And one day, a couple years back, he said, "I'm done. I don't like it. I quit." And he became a librarian.
Yeah.
And he absolutely loved it. But one day, a person who doesn't have an address, we'll call him.
Nice.
Let's say they're a little outdoorsy. Punched him in his shusher.
Really?
Yeah, just punched him right in the mouth, and I'm like, does this happen to all librarians?
You know what?
Is this something that happens often?
If you guys were to come out and look at our library at Lewis and Clark, it's not we don't shush in that library. I mean, we play movies. We've got games going on. We've got cornhole in the library.
Hey, family show, bro. Family show.
I mean, it's food in the library. No, it's not your mom and dad's library, and students love it out there. So it's really it's a really good place to hang out. And
How long have you been doing that?
At Lewis and Clark since 2000.
Okay.
And then I was at St. Louis University before that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we'll go back to the mid-90s.
So do we still need the Dewey Decimal System?
We do. And we have it. And we like it. And we're not getting rid of it either.
He's into his job, dude. Check that out.
Those are fighting words.
Man, I love that library. It felt like a library. It was like that old Lewis and Clark outside. You could see that from the inside, and that old building. You felt like, man, I'm digging in some old knowledge here.
The whole Baldwin Hall, the main building just has that. I've stepped back, 150 years in time. Even though it's not that old by any means, it just has that big stone castle-esque feeling. If it was mine, I'd put a moat around it for sure.
It's a nice place. It's a great place to work, and I've been there for a long time. But the library is kind of the crown jewel. It's got that praise angel room with the ceiling.
I agree.
So it's a good place. Yep,
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
You think you could give me a job? I want to be like dean or something cool, though. I don't want to start like throwing sawdust on the puke.
How about security? You like security, right?
You wouldn't pass.
I work for Lewis and Clark Security. We made some bad commercials to make fun of them back in the day. They gave me a lot of parking tickets, and you know what? Anything I said bad, I take back because I probably shouldn't have, parked, between the handicap and the door. I probably should have parked, not in the grass. I don't know.
Actually, we got good security. Honestly, they come by the library all the time. We got some good people. So we have good people out there. Security too. Yeah.
The security, whenever I went there, was always
back
really
in the old
good,
days.
too.
Yeah,
they were good then too. I just wasn't.
All right, so
anything we need before we
Yeah, I
wrap it
wanna-
up with them? Anything we need to highlight? We barely touched what's going on this weekend.
well, for
We
our
didn't make it
radio
to the first
listeners,
page.
because usually by the time the video comes out, most of these are over with. But our radio listeners are tuned in and ready to find out where they're going to go this weekend. And Fast Eddie's is going to have a Ray on Friday night. The Buzz Tones will be at the VFW on Friday night. We got Levi and McAtee with Austin Sprouse out at Bakers and Hale on Friday. Anthony
Wait a
Nanny.
minute. Levi, McAtee, and Sprouse, the lawyers?
Yeah, right.
Just checking,
Hey.
man.
That is some super talent right
That
there.
is.
You
I know.
The Porch Cafeers right there. Uh-huh. Anthony Nanny out at the Grip and Sip Golf in Cottage Hills. Nothing like the Cadillac Lounge out there from the old days. Skylark Brothers, or the Matador, or whatever it was called.
Matador.
7 to 10. The Skylark Brothers at Sam's Last Chance Saloon, which was, we called it the Corner Tavern until this year. Now,
All right.
now we're changing it. You mentioned Randy Belling. He's playing at Backstage Bar and Patio in Edwardsville with Instant Replay. Randy Belling on Friday night. Public Display of Affection. They'll be playing at the Chop House in Edwardsville. And,
That's a good name.
Yeah, and got all the... remember we talked about Toxic Johnny and the Downbeds. That show is... Friday night over at Pops.
Yeah.
at
Hey,
8
Merry
o'clock.
Christmas, Jimmy G. Sorry I didn't text you back.
That's right. And then the Pete Kryshek Project down at the Route 66 kickstand in Grand City. And I'm skipping through stuff, folks, so you can go to
You're doing great.
you can go to cottonmouth.org, which I would like to at this moment address Dennis again. And Dennis uses cottonmouth.org.
We do.
He says he's been there many times.
We do. Seriously.
Nice. I hope you find the good part of it. That's all the things that don't have me in it.
Well, I mean, everything is there, and you guys keep it up to date. Is that yours? And so, if you want to see who's playing, and we like to go out and listen to music when we're not playing, we go right to it.
Yeah.
I think we looked at it this morning, honestly. So yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But before he started doing that, it was a lot. There were quite a few people like putting out Facebook and this. And the issue with that is always that they don't put it out to the last second, or it's not in order.
Which I
And-
still have trouble with. I mean, trying to get people to post before I go on the air.
Right.
Right. And that's something we've worked with the venues over the years, and some have caught on, and you'll see their names. And if you're a band, this is important because the ones who are advertising are going to advertise your band. So those are the ones you definitely want to play at, right?
Yeah.
To help you out a little bit. And so, I try to let them know, but, owners change and, over time. And so I need to get back on it and hit some of them up that aren't always posting early and often. A lot of times, though, I'll just leave an open link. And if you see an open link, that means they haven't posted nothing yet, but usually they will, and probably the day of the show. So
2 hours before the show, that's when I post.
let's see. I did some Friday, so I want to mention City Heat's going to be at the VFW in Alton on Saturday, and Matt Tall is going to be out at Bakers and Hale and Godfrey on Saturday. Horns Up, formerly Throw the Horns. They'll be at the Pump House in Wood River. And let's see, what else we got here? Well, they got the anthology, the Allman Brothers tribute, and I hear that at least a former member, or possibly still a member, and also a former member of, or still a member of Mama's Pride.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we heard of them. Is in the wings possibly to visit us?
Yeah, I think in a couple of weeks I have to call Danny. Yeah, well,
right.
Hopefully we're gonna get Danny in.
He's probably painting or building something.
Well, I you know what I did is when I last time I talked to him, I said, Pat's come on the show.
Right.
I guess Pat loves me more. No,
Tracy
no,
Inman Band going to be playing Saturday at Backstage Bar and Patio. We need to have Tracy back.
Big props to Tracy with what he's accomplished in a very short amount of time.
Exactly.
I mean, that guy has figured a few things out that many of us have spent years trying to figure out.
Right. He worked at the refinery, still does.
Still does, yeah.
And decided I want to do music. and
Didn't know how to play guitar.
had
Didn't know
some
nothing?
lyrics written down. Eventually finds a studio who has produced these songs.
He hummed the songs, the tunes, and told them the lyrics over the phone.
He is now on the list for a Grammy nomination. Yes.
Grammy
and
nominated?
here's one we like a lot. He figured out how to get your music on the jukeboxes that are in the bars now. That you can actually go into a bar and put Tracy Inman in there.
And not only that, but for the Spotify, all the bands were like, how come my song never gets suggested, you know? He figured out how to get a song suggested, you know? They played Charlie Crockett. Oh, guess what? You also might like Tracy Inman. Hey, props to Tracy, man.
I know, and it's so
he learned-
fast,
and
too.
what I
That's the
love-
other part.
What I love is he also learned to play guitar along the way.
He did.
Smart move, dude. So, yeah, now he's out there doing it, man. So good for him. Where's he playing? Backstage?
Yep, backstage,
Good for him.
right there across the parking
Grammy-nominated
lot
guy.
from the
playing that.
anthology show at the Wild E.
Which
So,
you know is going to be amazing. If you're not an Allman Brothers fan, what's wrong with you?
hey, you remember the Imperial Pub we used to talk about? It's reopened.
Okay.
And who else to have on your reopening but Rock Bottom? You go right to the basement.
Go straight. Go all
That's
the way
now
down,
called the
baby.
Downtown Pub in Granite City. So I wanted to mention, Pigpen, that Wild Pickens is for sale.
Oh, I hate to hear
I think
that
it's
they're.
like 1.9 million is all you need.
That's a lot of grapes. You're
Is it
buying.
more than that? Yeah.
You're buying a lot of grapes.
I was just off the top trying to remember. It was a lot.
Yeah.
So, and you weren't here, but Mr. Cooliverse, which is going down Saturday as well,
Right.
told me that Raging Cajun is no more.
You know what? My nephew, Mr. Michael Copeland, who was down there all the time, helped run that place, just told me on Christmas Eve that they've been closed for a couple months. Hated to hear that one. Hate to see us lose any venue.
Right. So for Cooliverse, I think it's Dracula Johnson and the Downbads.
Nice.
Yeah. So that'll be a good show down at the conservatory. And there's a whole lot more because New Year's Eve is coming up, and I've started the list for New Year's Eve. So if you're planning, you might want to look ahead and see where to go for that. So there you go.
There you go, man. Very, very, very nice. Oh, look at this. Aaron Cam and the One Drops, the old rock house.
Yeah,
Nice.
apparently they do that every year.
Yeah.
I had a buddy call me up and said, every year I come
they
to
do.
St. Louis from Southern Illinois to see Aaron Cam and the One Drops at the Rock House.
I would go see that.
Yeah.
I'll already be at Andy Frasco at the pageant.
Okay, well, there
On
you
that
go.
particular night, but I like Aaron and the boys, so there you go. All right, anything else we need to mention?
I think we covered it, except for, Halpin Music Company is our sponsor.
Thank you.
We thank them very much,
Yeah.
going on year number 10.
Wowzers.
And Mr. Matt Van Voorhis, who is a very sexy man. Who used to work at Lewis and Clark.
But currently sells insurance.
Photographer, was he, at one point? Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't like to talk about that part of his life. It was a dark part. He's still trying to pay off debts. No, I'm just kidding. Poor Matt. What a great guy. Only guy that I can talk smack on every week, and he still keeps sponsoring the show.
Yeah, that's true. He's a great sport, and normally he's like, don't even mention me, just talk about my friends' businesses, like
I know.
Mr. Donut, right, and Town Club. What's some of the other ones we mentioned?
There's a car.
Midwest Motorsports,
John Roth.
right?
A good guy down there, too, so.
And if you haven't figured it out, the Stubblefield Band.
Yep,
Right.
absolutely,
Mr.
man.
Matt Van Voorhis.
Absolutely. So there you go. Well, hey, big thanks to the Soulshine Groove Band. Dennis,
Thank you,
Becqui,
Pigpen.
Mike, Brian, and as for Lyle.
He's a great guy.
Let me tell you something. You got off easy because usually when someone doesn't show up, we talk a lot of smack on them. And I forget how they got
But
me to
after
not
6
do it.
keyboard players,
Oh, that's what it
mellow
was.
out.
Yeah, I didn't want to be the reason for the
And
subject.
kudos to Mike Edwards for staying with a band. Drummers have the tendency to do that too. I'm just saying. You mentioned a list too of people he's played with. A lot of gigs for those guys. If you're trying to figure out which instrument to play, there's a clue, folks.
And if you're a musician with a kid, teach him to play drums because you're going to need that.
Yeah.
Drummers are so unreliable.
Oh, yeah.
The guy I mentioned earlier, Mr. Gabe, he works at the local libraries. He bought me a little bitty drum machine for my, like a super simple one for my birthday a few weeks ago. And he's like, now when drummers don't show up, you don't have to worry.
So just search on Facebook for Soulshine Groove. You guys are on Instagram, right? And let's see, YouTube. I mentioned Soulshine Groove Band. Nice. And what else? Any other places they can probably find you guys?
At the Moose.
Did I get them?
At the Moose.
At the Moose.
At the Moose.
On New Year's Eve and on January 17th in Edwardsville. The Wood River Moose on March 7th. The Edwardsville Moose again on the 21st. And the list goes on and on. We'll definitely keep track of that. And there's going to be there's some holes in that schedule. So they're going to start filling those in pretty soon, too. So people will be calling.
As of the 1st, we heard.
Right.
Yep. As soon as the new year hits, there you go.
It gets crazy really quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for coming down.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate you guys. We've been saying your name for a long time, and now every time we say it, I'll picture Becqui.
There you go.
And 3 blank faces around her. No, I'm just kidding. So,
For radio, right?
yeah. I got nothing for radio, TV, or.
I'm a fan of Dennis. I just got
Yeah. Well,
a good name.
It's that name. It's such a strong name. I mean, and when you look at him, you wouldn't guess he just got out of prison, but he did.
I would be a librarian in my second life.
I want to be Conan the librarian.
Okay.
Thanks for coming down and tolerating us for these 65 minutes. Best of luck to you. Can't wait to get out and hear you, because it sounds like we barely even scratched the surface of what style of music you play, but I know it's right up my alley. I can tell by his shirt. As soon as you walked in, I'm like, oh.
And his shirt. And you can get merch at their website, which I didn't actually mention the name of, but if you type it in, you'll find Soulshine Groove's website. You go to their Facebook page; it takes you right to their website. So
nice.
Yeah, our song list is just like a time machine.
Yeah,
Yeah, perfect.
From the Beatles all the way through the Doobie Brothers up to some Fleetwood Mac to Alanis Morissette.
Yeah. Until you named Atlantis, until you hit Atlantis Morissette, I was thinking, wow, you're naming all the people we play on My Mix 94.3. Yeah. You're like the house band for My Mix 94.3 till that Canadian Atlantis Morissette. Stupid Canucks. Well, hey, if we're gonna build a wall, let's make it up north. Keep them on their own. So, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I got nothing against any Canadians except Corey Hart and Brian Adams. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, there's been some very famous female singers come from this area. Starting with Bonnie Bramlett, our favorite.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Gretchen Wilson.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We do some of her too.
And from Canada, we got Anne Murray. No, I don't know.
Yeah. Exactly. Anne Murray.
Hey, seriously, thanks so much for coming down. Look forward to actually catching the band. I will look for you guys at Lewis and Clark and be on my best behavior if I see. Not really. Big thanks to, as we said, Halpin Music and Macias Insurance for sponsoring the show. Thanks to everybody for listening. And everybody, remember, get out this weekend, and this week is New Year's Eve coming up. Be safe when you're doing it, so we can talk about it again next year. And whatever you're going to do, make sure you support local music and art.